You've tried the diets, the workouts, the tracking apps, but what if the weight you're trying to lose isn't physical? Today, we're talking about the emotional weight that quietly holds your body in survival mode and how you can finally begin to let it go. We're talking about the hidden weight that keeps you stuck. So, welcome to Weight Loss for Women Over 40. I am your host, Nikki T. I have been in this industry for a very long time. I became a personal trainer in 2002, and I also worked as a physical therapist assistant. Before that, I was a professional ballet dancer in my 20s, and I have been in this business really since 2002 as a personal trainer, health coach. I've done 2 TEDx talks if you want to go find them. Yeah, so I've been through a lot. I've seen a lot. And if I haven't personally experienced it, I've seen it through working with my clients. So, what I found though is the typical way to lose weight is not effective if you don't have your mindset set up for success. Because be honest with yourself, how many diets have you tried and you're either gaining or losing or just frustrated in the whole process, right? There's a lot that goes into the diets and it's just frustrating. It doesn't need to be that way. So, welcome to the podcast. This is where we're going to talk about dieters' mentality, ditching diets, really focusing on the mindset and the psychology behind losing weight. So, let's dive into today's topic. We're talking about the hidden weight that's keeping you stuck. So let's define it in a way that makes sense for women, especially women over 40 who are trying to lose weight. So emotional weight is the biochemical and physiological and psychological load your body carries from stress, from unprocessed feelings, and trauma. And yes, it directly affects metabolism, it affects cravings, it affects weight loss resistance as well. Some of the ways that shows up is chronic stress, right? We're always so busy, we're always trying to manage everything. This will flood your body with cortisol. And that hormone is going to hold on to body fat if you don't keep your stress levels in check. Cortisol is handy in certain times, right? So when we are threatened by a bear, we want our cortisol levels to bump up really fast because we want to escape, we want to flee, we want to do things like that. So cortisol levels, the only time really, other than when you're trying to run away from a bear, the only beneficial times cortisol levels are helpful is when you're lifting weights. So that is when you want to stress your body. Yes, you can also do some high intensity interval training, but not as much as you think you need. So cortisol definitely will increase belly fat storage. It does disrupt digestion and it also creates inflammation in your body. So your nervous system stays in this like low grade fight or flight mode the whole time, even if you're sitting at your desk, even if there's a bear not ready to maul you, right? Your primitive brain is always on guard. It is always looking for the next thing that's going to kill you, and it's always in this lack and scarcity and fear mode, right? Because it's trying to protect you. So what this means is your body literally thinks it's really unsafe to let go of weight. And so when I say emotional weight, we're not being metaphorical, it's really physiological and psychological. So let's zoom in on one of the biggest emotional weights that weigh you down. It's body shame. So shame isn't just a feeling, it evokes a stress response in your body. It creates tension in your muscles, it suppresses digestion, and it spikes your cortisol levels, all which block fat loss, right? Think about the last time you felt shame around something. You probably felt all tense and guarded, and that is evoking that stress response. So, body shame will keep you in a loop of self punishment, right? Because we think that if we're in shame, because again, this is how we were taught, if we were in shame, we should suck it up, buttercup. We should put our big girl panties on and stop being such a wussy, right? And we're punishing ourselves and berating ourselves after the fact. So if you're in a dieter's mentality where you're restricting, say you're restricting your food and you want to eat other things and you eat the things that you think you can't eat, and then you start degrading yourself because how could I be so stupid? I messed this up again. I'll just start on Monday. Or I can't believe I look like this. Like, how did this happen? How did I get here? What the hell is wrong with me? I hate the way I feel in my clothes. Like all this self beratement, which leads to more shame, right? That suck it up buttercup mentality will lead to more shame. And the cycle of this increases the very weight that you're trying to lose. Because think about it. If you are feeling shame and then you start berating yourself, you emotionally feel like crap. Now, maybe in the moment you might go for a run, or you may kind of do this sort of punishing workout or restrict your food. But at some point, you're going to snap. And at some point, you're going to go back into that cycle of, I suck. I should eat food because I don't want to feel the emotions that are coming up. And it spins on and on and on. So if you've ever asked yourself, why can't I just get this together and do it? This is for you, right? Most women over 40 are carrying decades of body criticism, rejection, and comparison. And a lot of it is not yours to carry. This was passed down. It could have been a comment from a parent. It could have been a classmate that said something to you when you were little. It could have been you looking at magazines at airbrushed women and thinking that you needed to look like these women. By the time we're adults, these beliefs that we have adopted, right? And again, I'm not blaming our parents or anybody. I'm not blaming anyone. When you take 100% responsibility for the things that you do and the way you think, that's when things change, right? So when you hear me talking about generational um, shame or generational dieter's mentality being passed down, again, I'm not blaming those parents and those people, because they were just doing the best they could with the information they had, just like you are doing the best that you can with the information you had. Now, because you're listening to this podcast, your information is going to improve. So own the decisions that you're making, own the actions that you're taking, and watch what changes. But a lot of times, because we have these belief system and these patterns, now that we're grown adults over 40 in our 50s, 60s, these beliefs are really solidified. Like, we have practiced these beliefs over and over and over again, and it sounds like white noise. You don't recognize when you're in these belief patterns, because I guarantee you the people you're hanging out with think the same exact way you do. So you may be trying to lose weight as a grown-ass woman, but you're carrying around the body shame of the 12-year-old version of you. Your brain creates emotional muscle memory just like your body does. This is why you can lose weight and still feel heavy in your body, because the emotional weight has not been released. And if you are in that space where you have lost the weight and you feel like you haven't physically, like you're still carrying around this emotional baggage, guaranteed you will gain that weight back. Unless you're really rigid and strict, and that is no way to live a life, in my opinion. So you don't need another 90-day challenge. You don't need a new food plan. You don't need a workout plan that you think is going to magically change you. You need to focus on your mindset. You need to get really honest with yourself and really truthful with yourself. So I'm going to give you a 3-step release process that you can use right now today. Super powerful, and the easiest way to remember it is 3 N's, like for Nikki T. 3 N's. So the first, what I want you to do is I want you to notice it. So pay attention to the times that you get triggered, whether that's talking to someone, whether that's standing in front of a mirror, whether that's stepping on that scale. And remember, that beautiful scale is literally just the gravitational pull of your body on this planet on a piece of plastic and metal. Or you could get triggered by eating in front of other people or watching people eat the foods that you think you want to eat, and you feel like you can't eat. Like, notice it, okay? So that's the first thing, notice it. And notice, what do you feel in your body? Notice the thoughts that come up. Notice the emotions that you're feeling. The physicality, what is going on in your body? Do you feel like your shoulders are tensing up? Do you feel tightness in your stomach? Do you feel hot all of a sudden? Is your breath starting to kick up? right? Those are fight or flight responses. The next thing you want to do is you want to name it. So when those feelings, when you feel that in your body, then I want you to name the feeling, right? Put words to it. I'm feeling shame. This is shame. This is fear. I feel like I'm self-judging myself. Those things, name it. Put a label on it because sometimes this can be very ambiguous and we just kind of gloss over it. So naming the emotion will reduce its grip on your nervous system. Okay. So the first thing you're going to do is notice it, right? Pay attention. The next thing you're going to do is name it. The third thing you're going to do is nurture it. So what would compassion look like for you right here in this moment when you're being triggered, when you're feeling the feelings? Maybe it's placing your hands on your heart, choosing some supportive words instead of punishing words, or talking to yourself like you would your daughter or a young kid. We tend to berate ourselves really bad inside our head, and you would never, ever talk to anybody the way you talk to yourself in your head. So let's stop doing that today. Okay, so again, this process is notice it, name it, and nurture it. And sometimes for the nurture part, sometimes you just need a hug. Sometimes you just need to go talk to a friend. Sometimes you need to go pet a puppy, right? Do what you need to do. Use this process to tell your body that it is safe now. You are in a safe place and you are allowed to let go. You're allowed to release that trigger. You're allowed to release the nervous system. So I want to also give you one more thing for today. So grab out your journal. If you don't have a journal, you need to get a journal. And it could be the most boring notebook ever, or it could be the fanciest notebook ever. It doesn't matter. Um, I personally have two different kinds of journals that I gravitate towards, but find something that you like. Also, I have a particular pen that I like, and it's the one that I like to write in my journal with. Maybe you have similar things like this, but I highly recommend you get a journal. Start free writing those thoughts that are coming to your head. So, this is the prompt I want to give you for today. In your journal, I want you to write at the top of the page, the earliest moment I started feeling ashamed of my body was. Take a few minutes and write it down. No editing, just pure 100% honesty. Now, if you're uncomfortable with writing this down because you're afraid someone's going to find it, you can always shred it, you can always burn it, you can always rip it up. It's totally up to you. I personally like to have my journals and I keep them. I have journals from when I was very young in my teenage years. Um, I think it's fascinating to look back on them and see how much I've grown throughout my life. But again, that's up to you. But the journal prompt again is the earliest moment I started feeling ashamed of my body was. And ask yourself, what did I believe about myself in that moment? Because remember, the things that happen to us, whether they're micro traumas or really big traumas, and I'm not negating the trauma, okay, when I say this, but those traumas are blips on our timeline. So if for some reason, like I specifically remember being in grammar school and we were out on the playground and I was standing against the fence just hanging out, and two of my friends were skipping in a circle kind of in front of me, and every time they would go by, I think they either made a negative comment or they were sticking their tongue out at me or whatever. That stuck with me for a long time. And I still remember, obviously, I'm going to be 52 and I still remember this. And this is probably, I don't even know how old I was. I don't know, fourth grade, third grade. Things like that that happen in your life are little blips in your timeline. Okay. We tend to drag them through our timeline, and that's what makes them significant. Like we make it mean something. Like in that moment, I didn't feel good enough. I felt like they were being mean to me, you know? And for whatever reason, I just remember that moment. But in that moment, what did I believe about myself? I believed that I wasn't good enough. I believed that nobody liked me. I believed that I couldn't be a friend of theirs, right? Or whatever else the little version of me was thinking. Then ask yourself, is this true? Is this true that I couldn't be friends with them, or I wasn't a good friend, or they didn't like me? The irony of this is one of the girls that was doing this, we're still friends today. I don't even know if she remembers, and that's okay. Then that's the last question you want to ask yourself is what does my body need from me today instead, right? So if I'm feeling not good enough or I'm feeling like they didn't like me, right? Which flip it around, I don't like me all of a sudden. Not all of a sudden, it's how our brain works, right? So we make that mean something about us. So what does my body need right now today? My body may need just a nice comforting talk of like, no, you are good enough, Nikki T. You are a great friend. You are a great human being, whatever it is, right? And then actually go talk to that little version of you. Hey, I know that they may be quote unquote being mean right now, but that has nothing to do with you. And it has everything to do with them and whatever was going on in their world at that moment, right? And giving little me a hug, maybe, and being like, it's okay. You're friends with that girl years later, and she's a great friend. So ask yourself these questions. So again, get that journal out. The prompt is the earliest moment I started feeling ashamed of my body was. Now, granted, I didn't give you the example of the first moment of feeling ashamed. The that playground incident just popped in my head. So use the feeling, use the earliest moment when you started feeling ashamed of your body. Okay. And again, you can do this for anything that pops into your head, but use that and then ask yourself, what did I believe about myself in that moment? Is this still true? And what does my body need from me today instead? And then again, you can go visit your little version of you and give her a hug. She probably needs one. So you do not have to carry it all anymore. You just have to be willing to look at it and let it go. And a lot of this is what I work on with my clients inside my program. If you are interested in taking that next step, go to Weight Loss for Women Over 40/group and get in the Master Your Mind, Change Your Body program because it has all the foundational information that you need in order to lose weight. Plus, you get group coaching from me, which is going to help you process all the stuff that's coming up. And there will be a lot of stuff coming up. Okay. Again, you can go visit that at weightlossforwomenover40.net/group, GROUP. All right. So here's the truth. Emotional weight is often the first weight you need to lose and the last one you've been taught to look at. I don't know how many people. I actually just talked to a former client of mine and she messaged me on Facebook and she was like, just tell me what workout to do. And I need it to be step by step. And I was like, you don't need a workout. You don't need a workout. You need a mindset rewiring. That's what you need. And I'll tell you, if you have been doing a workout and a diet and you're still not getting the results that you want, it's your mindset. And I also think too, if you've been listening to my podcast, diets don't work long term. They really don't. If you want a system and a method that allows you to eat whatever the heck you want and still get the body you want, and why wouldn't you? Come over into my world, okay? So when you release that internal heaviness, your body will begin to shift. And it's not through punishment, it's through permission, it's through allowance. So if this episode spoke to you, please share it with a friend. Please share it with a woman who needs to hear this. And remember, as always, you are not lazy, you are not broken, and you are not unmotivated. You are perfect just as you are right now. And if you want more out of your body, out of life, that's okay. You're just carrying around more than you realized. All right. Have a beautiful day. I hope this episode spoke to you, and I hope that you really do those journal prompts and really dive into it. So, have a wonderful, this is actually coming out right before the 4th of July. So, have a wonderful 4th of July weekend, and I will see you in the next episode.